warrior who I main tanked a couple of guilds, which is sort of the keystone job in a lot of guilds. It's you end up being the guild really depends on your abilities. Not to toad my own horn that I was an amazing main tank or anything. I learned a lot of my tanking abilities from very, very supportive and helpful friends. But as I was saying, I cannot stand the gnome animations. They just drive me up the wall. The two-handed animation is kind of neat because they do this like side flip and like swing their whole body, but the one-handed animations are just hideous. And I mean, they're not hideous. They're fine. I just hate them. Because I've seen, I mean, literally, when you're tanking, you're staring at a butt, which is your butt right here, and your health bar. And if your health bar ever goes below, right about here, then you have to stay and hit the right buttons. But most of the time I stare at monsters' feet and my character's butt. Because, it's where my bar is located and I'm watching cooldowns. I usually have a mod installed called cooldown count, which actually puts a nice big bright number here, but I chose not to have cooldown count on in this one. I felt like it would take away from seeing what all the abilities look like. And I felt like that would be a bad thing. And I don't really need cooldown count for anything but raiding. And even in raiding, it's not something I desperately need. It just I mean, you always want to have as much information as you need when you're doing something exceptional, where you're doing something quite challenging. And wow, these guys are really stingy. They're not dropping their pelts. Oh well, gives you a chance to watch them she do her flips. And this happens. You'll get quests like this where you're where you have to grind a little bit to get the drops to finally hit you. Whether it's a combination of luck or the Blizzard intentionally put the spawn rate lower to ensure that you had the right amount of EXP, or whether the monsters are just spread out or there's competition. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for why a collection quest could take a long time to do. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, the more monsters you kill, the more used to your character you get and the more comfortable you feel with your character. And one of the things that I've learned from playing two-dimensional fighting games is that when you really need to be able to do something, your hands need to know what to do. They need to know to hit the right buttons at the right time. So training your muscle memory to hit the right buttons is not a bad thing by any means. However, the fighting games are just very different from WoW, but I think you can make cross comparisons between them. I probably will do a couple of LP videos of my favorite fighting game. I'm not going to tell you what that is, but I mean, by the time people watch this video, it probably will become pretty apparent. I'll tell you, I'll give you a hint. Ryu is in it, and Ken, but Naughty, Honda, or Blanca. So there you go. That's a big hint for Street Fighter fans who know their games. I could really go obscure and tell you Skullmania is not in it too, but that just seems really inane. So, if you notice, and I'll keep pointing this out because, finally I'm not dying, is that I'm very rarely going below 90% hit points, and that's because since we have our talents, we are substantially stronger, and because of our newfound strength, we're really easily able to, sort of wrecking ball, fly through these monsters without much trouble, and that's the power level you should be at. I think I remember pre-talents warriors feeling like pretty bad, and then post-talents just being stupid, just being able to walk up to everything and kill it in a one round of abilities. And you notice our special attacks feel a little more active now. I'm hitting more buttons. which you probably hear by the up tap of my keyboard. I don't know why I whack the keyboard. It's just something I do. It's sort of like an idiosyncrasy, I guess. Something something I do. I beat on my keyboard, which is probably why my Razer Lacosta isn't doing so hot. And why the WASD buttons are all worn and all that kind of stuff. But it's just something I like to do. I don't know. I don't have to do it. Maybe. Ramble. See, at least Grimgrams, like, at least he rambles about, like, fun to listen to stuff. I feel like I'm rambling about, I mean, nothing. I mean, maybe that defines a ramble, who knows. Now I got a really good ramble going. Okay. Well, I heard a few human voices, a few so we have more than one monster. We'll see how we do. If we have to heal pot, we do. Oh, this guy's whirlwinding me. I'm just gonna eat it. Usually what I would do with when a guy does that is I would back away, because I don't know if you guys got the chance to notice, but he had a debuff on him, an ability right here that made him move slowly, and I could have just easily just flew the kite, as the MMO lingo is, which is to say that I could have just walked away from him and let him follow me because I moved faster. Maybe I'll show you with this Scarlet Friar, if she decides to go all spin through the tables of my heart. Yeah, so right here, right, you see, she's snared. She can't move as fast, and so we can just kite her around, you know, fly her like a kite. It's less sexual than it sounds, I promise. I mean, I'm sure that'd be a great rap lyric. Oh, and then they evaded. See, this is what you get for being smart. Is now she's evading, which is essentially a combat wipe caused by the fact that I wasn't close to her. So now we're just gonna sit here and kill her, because that made me look a little stupid, which is fine. I don't mind looking stupid. I mean, it's gonna happen a lot in my Let's Plays, especially if I end up typing anything. I'll let you eat her. Tasty human females. So I think we need another friar, and so I think we're just gonna take another rand at Vachon and his partner here, because why not? Oh, and we got Dazed. Wonderful. Dazed is a weird mechanic. I'm not 100% sure if World of Warcraft needs Dazed anymore, but it's definitely not going anywhere. I've hated Dazed since the day this game was installed on my hard drive. The Daze mechanic, I guess I'll explain it since I've been rambling about it, is basically if your back is turned to a monster, they have a chance to slow you down. And the idea is that they, you know, hit you in the back of the head, or, you know, crank you in the knee, you know, the back of the knee, somewhat painful, and you're unable to move away. It's a mechanic which is to stop you from getting anywhere you shouldn't be. I think is their original intention for that mechanic, and I just feel like it's a really weak mechanic from a strictly a gameplay standing. I mean, this game is, you know, skipping content in this game, you know, by running through it is just totally irrelevant nowadays. I mean, maybe it has some obscure rating applications, but I don't think it does. I mean, anybody who would turn their back towards a monster in a raid, especially if they're a tank, is pretty stupid, because you cannot parry, dodge, or block from behind. I think you might be able to dodge, but I'm not sure. You definitely can't parry. You know, you can't put your sword behind your back and parry a guy's attack. I guess maybe I should explain. Dodge, parry, and block to a lesser extent are called avoidance abilities, and when an ability gets dodged, it's the same as if the ability missed. The same thing with parried, except parrying is a little bit different than dodge.